Hey guys, back with another video. This time I'm talking about what should be your first truck, or vehicle for that matter. Let's go up here and get a good clip of the front end for a what do you call it? One of them things, thumbnail. Alright, so how you should determine your first vehicle. You need to consider what you're going to be doing with it. I'm going to get in the truck because it's noisy as hell. Okay, so how you determine your first vehicle is there's flies. What purpose does this vehicle need to serve to you? Get you around town, haul things that you're working on. I'm getting tired of the bugs. Oh boy, this is going to be annoying already. And, are you just trying to get around town, head to Knoxville? I'm naming out local locations. Or haul things, haul people. What are you doing with it? Me personally, I'm hauling not hauling vehicles. Obviously, not with the 1998 Chevy S10 with a 2.2 4-cylinder. It wouldn't pull a greasy string out of a cat's ass, but they are reliable as all hell. So I gave total about $1,265 for it. How I determined that number is I paid $500 cash for no wheels and traded an engine, transmission, rims, front and rear end for a 1985 Chevy Blazer. It's that one that used to be on my old channel a couple of years back. Gave up on it, got this thing from my grandfather. It's usually best to find people who like you. You can usually get the price cheaper. And, I got this truck, I'd say about 1.5 years ago. I don't have my license yet, I know. But, I have put some mileage on this thing, illegally. And I personally wouldn't advise it. Usually what happens is you get booked and processed. I got lucky this time. A local cop that I didn't personally know him, but he come from the county that I grew up in. One of the two counties I grew up in. I grew up in Greenback, and Vonore here in East Tennessee. So I drove from Maryville, which is where I'm currently at, Blount County, drove all the way down to Greenback, and then to Vonore. And keep in mind, this town is so small, it's a little shit stain on the map, and it's pretty hard to keep track of. And in that case, I was pretty much the only one out at 2:30 in the morning. So, the officer thinks I'm suspicious, which, perfectly reasonable idea to think. And it was me and my sister, and one of her friends, and I won't name the other two, or I won't name those two, just for their own personal privacy. Long story short, this vehicle, the reason I picked it is on a good day, it gets about 20 to 25 miles to a gallon. And it makes no horsepower, though. That's the downside, but it's straight shift, and I personally prefer straight shift over anything else. And it was a decent candidate. It needed a little bit of touch-ups here and there. It come from the previous owner before me, and the owner before him didn't do good maintenance. They basically added oil when it smoked it out. My grandfather blew a head gasket. Luckily, he didn't warp the heads. So, he sent it to a buddy of ours to replace the head gasket. Got it replaced, and it's run tip-top shape ever since. It's a good little truck. But I'm getting a 1950 model Chevy 1.5-ton Chevy pickup, which I think was a dump truck at one time. And, long story short, the reason I got this thing is cheap, affordable, economical, has heat and air. It's got some sound. I added a subwoofer system, which is Kenwood. And it's also another reason to say I don't pick people up. There's one seat. This isn't really, in my opinion, considered a seat. It has a seat belt buckle and a seat belt down at the bottom, but To me, it's not a third seat in my opinion. Can't fit nobody in it. Put a tachometer in it. It says Pro Plus. Ignore that, because this thing's a piece of shit. It'll tell you roughly how much. It'll tell you roughly the RPMs, but that's about it. Okay, so for what's under the hood, I already said it before, but I'll show it. It's the original 2.24 cylinder. And I'm considering doing an LS swap sometime in the not too far future. It's very basic, simple to service. You got your ECM over here, your heat and air box over there, your fan, your blower motor, then your compressor for the heat or for the air conditioning, air filter box, fuse relay system. You got your ABS brake pump system, brake booster, and master cylinder. Right over here is your hydraulic clutch pedal. Uses .3 brake fluid, which that needs to be changed. It's a little on the dark and smelly side. I added HID headlights, which you obviously can't tell until I turn it on. The bugs here in East Tennessee are loud. See? It's a nice addition. It allows you to see quite well on the road. And, let's see here. Oh, alright. And your radiator's under here, obviously. Hood latch. I'm naming off simple things for those of you who aren't experienced in cars, know what to look for. And one of the biggest things, if it is not a diesel, if it is a gas-powered car, listen for a knock. If it sounds like a... That could be very many things. And I would, if I were you, I would prefer researching it instead of going off of what some kid says on the internet. I'm referring to myself in the third person, yes. I'm a little crazy. And you got all your simple things. Right here's where you change and check the oil. And I would show you underneath where the oil plug is and the oil filter, but I don't feel like crawling under it. This thing's got a miss, so I need to change out spark plugs. That is an assumption, but it is a fair one since the spark plugs in this thing are probably well overdue. I don't know when the last time that them things was changed. Here's your coolant overflow, which it's a little on the full side, but then again, this thing is cold. When it heats up, it'll draw more coolant into the cooling system. It's a closed coolant system. It does not vent to the atmosphere when it gets too hot. Here's air intake. What these things are supposedly known for, but I've never had a problem with personally, is that they've got a plastic air intake, and supposedly they crack very easily. I don't have a problem with that. Now, if I were you buying a vehicle for your first time, if you were doing it in person yourself, I would suggest that you rent one of these things. This is called an OBD2 reader. Now, I will do a demonstration to show how it works. And yes, my ignition switch is a little messed up. Come on, don't fight me. Start. It runs alright, but it's got a slight miss. Alright. Now, if you're... Let's close the door so it's quieter. If you're renting one of these OBD2 readers to check this, in an S10, they're typically located right there. But it varies from manufacturer to manufacturer. It could be over here on this side of the dash, on the driver's side. It could be directly in the middle, or underneath the steering column. Now, if you're going to get one, like actually purchase one, if you're mechanically inclined to work on your own vehicle, like me, I would prefer to have a wired system, at least with a long cord, because it seems like hum is bad for problems. So is this Innova Model 3040C. Don't get it. It's garbage. Because look, I tugged the cord. Barely. It blacks out and restarts. It's junk. If you're going to get one, spend good money on one. I ain't saying get one of those tablet models that are $2,000 that you're only going to use every once in a while. Get something like this, but better. Okay, so these usually do a check and try to automatically select your vehicle, but sometimes you have to go in and manually enter it. I had to do it with this S10. So right here you click enter. It says, is this your vehicle? You click enter again if it is. Right now it's not showing up any errors. Now LD stands for live data. You click that button and it shows you all the specifications. Basically all the live data that the computer is reading from the engine. Fuel system 1, fuel system 2. This one does not have a fuel system. Number 2. Calculated load is 23%. It is only really running the water pump and the alternator and power steering at this point. Engine coolant temp is 143. It shows it right there on the dash. And let's see. Some of these I'm not sure, honestly. I'll have to check into. That shows your engine RPM, essentially what this does. It's a tachometer built into it. Vehicle speed. I'm not moving currently. I'm sitting in one position, so, well, can't really demonstrate that. It's not in gear. I'm not moving anywhere, so it's not going to show the vehicle speed, but it can show it when you put it in gear and drive it. Okay, so let's scroll down more. Spark Advance, it's negative 64, now 16. I guess it was updating. So it appears that it is 18 or 19 now in advanced. And let's see, will it show retarded timing? No. Air intake temperature. For some reason it's showing negative 40. I'm pretty sure that's not the case. I'm in shorts and I'm sweating right now outside. Okay, that's a little more appropriate. 87.8 degrees. Throttle position sensor, TPS. I'm mashing down on the throttle and it'll show a percentage of how far the pedal has been pushed. And let's go down. O2S lock. Like I said, I don't know some of these. Don't shame me. I know enough to keep the vehicle from dying or from destroying it. Now, usually what you're supposed to do is shut it down, but I just unplug it because I'm not trying to save data. It's got an aftermarket radio, aftermarket stereo. That's pretty much it. That's all the basics of this. This is the Bass Boy, quote, end quote. I personally don't like that name anymore. I don't know why I chose it. It's not fitting to my personality. But this is Bass Boy. Y'all take it easy. If you guys want any more videos going in depth under the hood, I will make a series on it, and you just ask. You ask questions. And if I see your question, I'll do a video on it. Pretty much out of a vote of however many questions are asked, I will cover the one that is most asked. If I get another repeating question, like say I've already done the video and somebody asked the question in another video, I'll just reference them to the video that I've already done. So this is the Bass Boy. You guys take it easy. Like, comment, and subscribe. And see y'all later.